Well, Forget Me Not is a poem I wrote over a period of, I think, 4 or 5 years as my father was descending into Alzheimer's. And I would get up in the mornings and go over to the place where he was staying in a hospital and feed him and spend time with him and work on his memory or try to remind him of things. And he, over the 5 years, there was that kind of a degeneration that happened from him knowing where he was to not knowing what he was. It was a kind of a slow departure, and in the process, language departed, the connections almost deconstructed into incoherence, but yet there was a kind of surrealistic or Dadaist mind in me that saw connections. And so I kept a journal, which I usually don't, and it became kind of a daily phrase or something he remembered, something he forgot, and the spaces between the moments of the word or the connection was something that I try to capture as well. That's why the poem is read very slow in spaces, So, and I didn't know till afterwards that Forget Me Not was the flower of Alzheimer's Society, and so the poem became Forget Me Not, and that phrase Forget Me Not became very important to me because he had actually said a couple of times to me, "Don't forget me," and it was a way of remembering him and being with him. And in the process, I was having a conversation that I never had with him, even though he wasn't that conscious of it. I was more, and in some ways, it was more my conversation with him than his conversation with me. But it became intertwined because Alzheimer's is also genetic. And my aunt had it. And so part of me was wondering, am I next in line? And I am generally a forgetful person. And, but it's been with me, like keys misplaced, and I go back 3 times to my place to get something and always forget one other thing. And so this forgetfulness or forgetting or forget me not became a kind of what was playful, and the absent-minded professor kind of thing, and Farkas can't remember anything. As I was seeing my father forget and feel the world slipping away from him and him slipping away from the world, struck home to me. And it's not, you can't see it, but I also have visual images with those poems. I took these pictures. I became a photographer in a way of these winter scenes where bushes that were wrapped in burlap. And I washed out everything behind it, and it became a very strange world of these people on journeys, like burlap shapes wandering through. Anyway, so that became part of the poem. And it was a poem that usually I write fairly fast, but because the disease took so long and to happen, in a way, I think so did the poem, and so in a way, it's a long-term relationship with my father in a way that I never expected it to have. So anyway, I remembered Forget Me Not.